Couch is squeaky. That's my couch, I promise. My couch is very squeaky. Hi! Welcome to Christy Grace Scarlet Pen. I decided to, make this a bit more cash. So I'm sitting on my couch. So today I am starting a new video, and I have, already started. Already started this video. I didn't get a chance to film yesterday when I wanted to, but we are here and I'm doing it now anyway. So basically, if you didn't already tell from the title of this video, I am reading books because of Booktube. So Booktube has a plethora of people who are all talking about books. A lot of the times people are talking about the same books because they get so inspired by each other that they desperately want to read what the other person has really liked and, everybody is talking about. Those are the books that I picked. They are books that everybody just seemed to be talking about on Booktube. Some of these books, it was a while ago. Some of them are, less talked about than others, but this is my list of books that I thought were worthy of reading because of Booktube. So the first book I actually read a little while ago, but I wanted to include in this video because I did read it purely because of Booktube and everybody really, really liking it, and that is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I really enjoyed this book. It is a closed-door romance, which is why I picked it up and decided to read it. I don't like open-door romances, and so that makes the pickings pretty slim for me, especially when you consider that Book Talk loves open door. I don't. So this is a closed-door romance, but it is steamy, don't get me wrong. It's almost a little close to the line for me, but it was so enjoyable. I love the characters. This is friends to lovers. They have been friends forever and ever. One of our main characters, Bree, has been in love with her best friend forever and ever and ever, and he is a famous football player, I think. NFL, Nathan, and he is a famous football player. He's, notoriously goes out with all kinds of girls and all that kind of stuff, and accidentally they end up having to fake date, and it is just so funny to watch, and they are so cute together. They are literally besties, and so that is just so much fun to watch them interact with each other. It is just such a cute book. It is so much, it just all the rom-com vibes in the best way. Like, it's amazing, and I really, really enjoyed it. I did end up reading When in Rome after this, and I also really enjoyed that as well. I am not reading the next one in that series though, because I don't know why people are obsessed with corrupting the good person. I hate that, so I'm not reading that one. But I did enjoy When in Rome, and I think that there are a few more Sarah Adams books that are closed door. I think I gave this 5 stars. I'm pretty sure I gave this 5 stars. Okay, the next book that was on my list, I meant to film before I actually read, but I accidentally read this yesterday, and I did not want to film yesterday, so, I'm coming to you when I've already finished it, but I was 100 pages in. I started to read this book a while ago, like quite a few months ago, and I got about 100 pages in, so I really only had 2/3 of this book to read, and I did that yesterday because it was Saturday, and what the heck else am I going to do but read, and that is Shatter Me by Tahira Murphy. So this book has just been everywhere for so long. People love this series, and I decided to finally actually finish the read. I think the only reason I stopped reading it a couple of months ago was because I wasn't in the mood for this kind of writing, but I am in my fantasy moods right now, and so it was good timing to do this and to do this video, considering that a lot of the books on this are actually fantasy related. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Anyway, so Shatter Me is about a girl called Juliet. She's about 17, and she can't touch people without killing them. So if you touch her, you end up dying, and so she has been locked away in a prison somewhere, but she ends up getting pulled out, and there is, multiple guys. There's a war happening in the big place that she lives. There's a war happening in the country where she lives. I'm like, what? The big thing. The country where she lives. And she has to try and decide what side she's on and what she's going to do. So this book has been around, this series has been around a while now. It has, I think, 6 official books and a whole ton of novellas, which give sort of extra perspectives and bits and pieces in there. So my thoughts on this book are a roller coaster, because this book went from interesting, good, horrible, just horrendous writing, really interesting again, great, and it just was a roller coaster of adequate and inadequate. I think overall this book gave me Wattpad novel vibes. Like, that's what this gave me. A lot of it was drivel. I'm sorry for all of the people who just love this series and love this author's writing. I don't know if it's all of her writing is like this or if it's just this series. But for me, like, there's a scene in Castle, okay? There's a scene in Castle, and in season 1, I believe, and Richard Castle, the novelist, is giving a reading of his book to, you know, a group of people in a bookstore, and Kate Beckett, the detective, who is always being frustrated by him at her job, decides to come and sort of make fun of him at his job, and he's reading the final line of his book, and he delivers it really well, actually. Props to Nathan Fillion. But it's the cheesiest line, and so when Beckett decides to, you know, come up to him and make fun of him, she does, and she reads the line like it sounds, which is, "Good," she thought, "as the wind gathered up her hair. No one will see but tears." How does wind gather up here? I'm just curious. But it's, you know, it's the line is so pathetic, and it's the line is not great, and the way that she does it, it just highlights how not great it really is. It's over the top, dramatic, it's cheesy, it's ridiculous. That's a lot of the lines in this. That's how it felt, okay? Like, I don't understand why half of this was written this way. The stuff in the asylum was really interesting, okay? You hooked me with that. But we're repeating lines, like, all the time. Everything is repeated all the time. Let me see if I can find one, because I probably can. Aha! So, okay, here you go. I wait forever. That's so unnecessary, okay? Like, I know some people aren't gonna read it that way. Ugh. It's just like, it was unnecessary to me. I wait forever was enough. Like, that was enough. That was great. That would have been fine. But no, you had to have the I wait forever.
Hi guys, so I'm editing this footage now and realizing that, yeah, I accidentally deleted the last half of me talking about the Shatter Me book and why I didn't like it very much. So you're welcome for me deleting footage that can never be replaced and never be found again. But suffice to say, I didn't really, I've got to try and remember my thoughts about this. I didn't really engage much with the characters. I have an entire review on these. I should just look up the review, my gosh. I have to look at my own review. The story was really slow to start. It was way too much of the beginning bit for me. And then when we finally got into it, it was like this really sharp change of like, we're a prisoner, we're a Beauty and the Beast, we're superheroes. Like, what is this progression? Like, come on, pick a storyline. So for me, it just jumped around way too much. It was way too jarring in terms of plot lines. And I do know some of the romance, like what happens in this series in terms of romance, and I'm just not on board with it. I don't know how we get from book 1 to where, well, I do know, but how we get from book 1 to like where the characters end up and who ends up with what and who ends up with who and all that kind of stuff. Like, I hate toxic relationships, and to me that all if you only pick up book 1, which I am going to only pick up book 1, you're not rooting for a toxic relationship. Who roots for toxic Who are you people who root for toxic, horrendous relationships where nobody is winning and everybody is just dragging each other down? Who are these people? Anyway, whatever. If you like that stuff, that's up to you. Like, you know, go for your life, babes. But I just couldn't get past it for this book. So, you know, there are my really shortened views on this book because unfortunately I lost all of the footage where I was talking about it. And I just didn't want to sit back in front of a camera again. So there you go. You're welcome.
Hi, welcome back from a couple of minutes ago, but I am about to leave because I have places to be and people to go, and, you know, that didn't make sense, but I am about to leave. But before I go off to church, actually, today, before I do that, I wanted to really quickly talk about the next book, and introduce the next book for my Booktube, made me read video. I forgot the title of this video. But this next one so that I can actually read it without, you know, accidentally forgetting to film. So here we go. The next book on my Booktube Makes Me Read video is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I know limited information about this. I do not enjoy, hold your breath ladies and gentlemen, Sarah J Maas. I don't like her. I think she has too much darkness in her books, and she has, you know, championed this writer. So I've been very, very hesitant. I guess, to read it because Sarah J Maas has her stamp of approval on it. Now, no offense to Sarah J Maas. I'm sure she's a lovely person, and her books I know people absolutely love. I just don't enjoy her writing and the darkness that she brings into her writing. So personally for me, Sarah J Maas is a huge no-no. So I have put this one off for a while. However, it's been talked about a little bit. This one isn't as talked about, I feel, but it has been talked about a bit. And I am taking the leap because this person is not Sarah. This person is Lynette, and I've decided to take the leap with this story because it just sounds so dang interesting. I know I'm going to mispronounce because these names are so insane, but our main character is Kiva, and she is a healer who is working in a big prison, and she is working there, and the queen of the rebels of the company. I did that before. The queen of the rebel country, the country's rebels, yeah, that person, has been captured, is dying, and she has been charged with making sure she doesn't, you know, like, cark it, I guess, but, before she has a chance to be put through the trials that this country has, puts their prisoners through, their big high stakes prisoners, and that involves sort of elemental challenges. And the queen is just like very, very frail. She is dying, and so she knows, our main character knows, that she will not last. And then she gets a message from the underground saying, please keep her alive, and so she ends up volunteering instead to go in the place of the queen to do the elemental trials, except that nobody has ever survived the elemental trials. So this sounded pretty interesting. I liked the idea of this. There's some parts of it that I'm not 100% set on. Like, for example, I don't mind if people have powers, magical, like, you know, supernatural powers, like flying or, you know, being able to heal. That's fine, but as long as it doesn't go into, like, they got their powers because of, you know, wizardry or, like, stuff like that. I'm not into that. That is not where I sit. So there is a line for me that I have to be careful not to cross for my own personal reasons. But it's, you know, it sounded really, really interesting. I am not afraid to DNF if books get too creepy or if books go into a dark path. I will DNF. I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this. This is a series. This is book 1 in the series. And I really am hoping that this is interesting enough for me to not have to DNF. Not creepy enough that I'll have to DNF, but also that maybe I'll get into the series. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a hit for me. Like I said, not as many people talk about this one, but I am kind of excited to read it and see what it's all about. So I'm gonna go do that when I get home from church today. So yeah, we're gonna do that very soon, and then I will try to update. I feel like I only come to you at the beginning and the end. I'm doing so well with reading right now. Yes, this is amazing. All right, I'll update you guys soon. This book surprised me in a good way. I'm still reeling because I've just finished it. I read 250 pages on the physical copy and finished the last bit on audiobook. This book, I still don't know how to talk about this, but I wanted to film this bit now, even though probably I should wait until tomorrow, but I'm going to do it now. So I really enjoyed this book. I didn't expect to, but I did. I didn't realize that the trials that we were going through, like the elemental trials, were going to happen. That was going to take this entire 400-page book inside the prison. I didn't realize that was going to be book 1. I immediately went out and bought the second 2 books because I have to know what happens after this book. I loved Kiva, I loved Jaren, I loved Nari, I loved Tip, I loved Mott, I loved everybody. I loved this. I really enjoyed this book. I really liked it. Yeah. I mean, what else do I say? It was so interesting. It pulled at your heartstrings. It was somewhat funny in moments. It was really interesting and really engaging the whole way through. I sped through this book so fast. This is very long. It's 400 pages. I did not expect to get through it this quickly. yeah, the way that this unfolded, the ending for this book, you aren't ready. If you haven't read this book, you're not ready. I'm sorry. You're not ready. Honestly, I really enjoyed this book so much. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. This book was great. It has to be 4.5 stars though. There are trigger warnings in here, content warnings. Please beware. There is some really intense ones. There's lots of violence and some gore in there, and, you know, bits and pieces as well. So please be wary of that. But honestly, it wasn't so intense that I had to disregard the book altogether. So props to Lynette. She did well. You know, I was a little hesitant because of the recommendation by my not favorite author. But honestly, no, she didn't go too far with things. She kept things really engaging and interesting, and her characters I really enjoyed. I liked it. I liked it. Just those triggers were the only thing, the content warnings were the only thing that bumped it down half a star, but 4.5 stars. I really liked this book, and I now have to read the next two, obviously. But, you know, they are part of my collection. I mean, I have to know what happens next. I have to know! Gosh. Alright, well, there you go. That was that. Oh my gosh. The next book in this Booktube made me read it. That was such a win. Hopefully this one will be too, is This Is Not the Jess Show, and that's by Anna Carey. So I'm excited to read this. This has been on my shelf for so very long. So very long. So I am excited to finally read this. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. So what is this book about, you may ask? I feel like as soon as I describe the back cover, you're pretty much going to get an idea of what this book is about. And if you read the blurb as well, like, you'll get an idea of what this book is about. This book is basically about our main character, Jess Flynn. It's 1998, and everybody is just, you know, crushing it, living their lives. She's a teenager in school, and she's just like, you know, chilling and, you know, living, whatever. And, but something is going on in her town. And then all of a sudden, one of her friends drops this sleek black thing that has an Apple logo on it. I wonder what it is. And she is going to try and figure out what is going on. Why are people being strange all of a sudden? What is this mysterious flu that's going around? And what the heck is going on in her life? Yeah, I think you pretty much know exactly what's going on in her life, like I do, because if you're in the know, you know, you pretty much know what this book is. I'm excited to read it. Honestly, Jess Flynn is our main character gal. I'm here for it. I'm actually, I don't care. Like, I don't care if, like, I know what this book is leading to. Don't care. I'm still excited to read it. It's still cool. I'm still interested. It is under 300 pages, but it counts. Nice and short when you compare it to my 400 gargantuan page book. No, that wasn't probably that much longer though. 100 less pages than the last book I just read. So hopefully this will be a fun, quick little read that we will get through. And finally, I can say that I've read it. And I bought it because of Booktube and another Booktuber, so I'm hoping it's good. I'm back on my squeaky couch because I am talking about my next read book for my Booktube Made Me video, and that is This Is Not the Jess Show. That was by Anna Carey. So I just finished this book. I read this book in 4 hours. That's very fast for me. It is short. It's a 300-page book, but honestly, it was so easy to get through. I really enjoyed this book. It was 4 stars. It was really fun. I liked it. It was, I knew exactly what this story was going to be. Didn't care. It was still great. Like, you know, I really enjoyed it, you know, without giving too much away, even though you pretty much can tell if you've, you know, seen certain movies. I really liked it. I was here for it. I enjoyed it. Jess, our main character, Jess, I really liked her. I thought she was really well written. Whatever was happening in her circumstances, I didn't feel like it was over dramatized. It felt like relatively realistic. I just fully enjoyed it. I'm here for it. There's not really much I can say, but I did really like it. So thank you, Anna, because I thought it was really good. Fun book. All right, What is next, you may ask, for this video, and I will tell you. Just give me 1 second. Honestly, the last book on this list is very intimidating, so I'm going to read this one first. And that is The Incredible Adventures of Cinnamon Girl by Melissa Keel. I have seen only a handful, like a very small amount of people talk about this book before, but the only reason I did buy it is because I had seen it talked about on Booktube. So, hence why it's in the video. Alright. Our main character, Alba, likes really simple stuff, baking, drawing, like whatever, and then her town gets overrun by doomsdayers who say that the world is ending and, you know, her and her friends are just trying to, you know, live out the apocalypse, apparently. But honestly, it just sounded really cute and really fun and really sweet, and honestly, sweet, get it, anyway. Honestly, it was just a quick, easy read, and hang on, let me see. Wait. Again, just under 300 pages, so hopefully this also will be an easy get through, and hopefully also a good book as well, because, I mean, it sounded cute, and the cover is really fun. I like the cover, it's cute. I'm saying cute 17 times in this video already, and I think I was filming something earlier, and I also said cute 5 million times as well. Yep. Anyway, this is the next one, so let's try it. I don't really know a whole ton about this book, just that I saw it on Booktube, so let's read it. Alrighty, I have finished The Incredible Adventures of Cinnamon Girl. What a name, my goodness. Okay, so this book took me by surprise a little bit. It was really cute and really fun. It had all the comic references, and that was really, I enjoyed that. It was funny, and, you know, it was interesting to watch these characters sort of decide what they're going to do when they leave school, and sort of grow into that time in their life. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Took me by surprise. Characters were Aussie relatable, which relatively Aussie in their demeanor and the way they talked or the way they interacted. The end of the world, I think I read in a review somewhere that the end of the world stuff really is just sort of happening in the background to the coming of age story, and I agree with that assessment. We still dealt with like that was happening around these characters, but it was more about them and where they're at and their life, and, you know, not seeing people for a long time, and then are they different? Are you different? And what do you want out of life? What do you want to do? And yeah, how friendships can evolve and change and things like that. So really liked this one. I will say though that it got 4 stars for me because they mentioned adult entertainment a little too much for teenagers for me. Why? I don't think that that's appropriate especially for a book that is very clearly about teenagers. I didn't think that was appropriate to make that seem like it was so totally normal and acceptable. You may disagree with me. It's particularly in the rise of certain movements in the last little while, but I don't happen to think that that is appropriate for teenage book and for teenagers in general, and, well, anybody in general, but that's my personal opinion. Anyway, so I didn't appreciate that was mentioned quite so often, like a lot, especially at the beginning, and some of the jokes were a little bit crude for me, but this is Australia, and that apparently is the way things go in Australia, so, you know, in theme, I guess. So there you go, that was Cinnamon Girl. The last book on my list I'm the most excited about, but it is also the longest, I think. Well, one of the longest, so I put it off till last. And that is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I am very excited to read this. I'm hoping it is not creepy. I don't like fantasy books that are creepy, so I've been hoping that this isn't. It is about, so what I can gather, thieves. Hence the title. A group of thieves, a new person in power on the on the throne, and yeah, just a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. That is so very, that is very uninspired in terms of explaining what this book is about. So I tell you what, once I've finished this book, or maybe when I'm like halfway, because it's very long, I will come and give you an update of what the book is actually about, and hopefully that'll be a better explanation. Yeah, okay. See you when I'm finished. Alright, so I currently have tonsillitis, so I can't talk very loudly. but I wanted to record this while I remembered. So this is the last book that I had on my list for Booktube made me read it, and it was Dance of Thieves. So here's the deal. I made it to, I think, chapter 3, and then I have officially stopped reading, and I am not going to continue this book. I'm really sad about that. I'm disappointed that I couldn't continue it. I've heard some good things about it, and it sounded really interesting. The problem that I have with this book is that there are too many creepy elements in here. There are paganistic type religions in here, and I am just not, like, the first page really threw me off. Let me, hang on. Wait, right there. Literally the first line in this book is, "The ghosts are still here." I'm like, babe, the words lingered in the air, each one a shimmering spirit, cold whispers of caution, but I wasn't afraid. I already knew the ghosts, they never go away. They call to you in unexpected moments, hands lacing with yours and pulling you down paths that lead nowhere. This way. I learned to mostly shut them out. Ew. That first paragraph, like the first sentence is bad enough. The whole first paragraph, I was like, oh, heck no. Gave me an idea of what might happen in this book, like where it's going, like spiritually or, you know, creepily, with some of its fantasy elements. But I kept going anyway. I was like, okay, could just be an isolated moment. Could be like you're trying to start off a book in a really interesting way to grab people's attention. So I pushed through that for a bit. But then once we hit something like chapter 3, I think it was the guy's POV. Yeah, so chapter 3, when you finally see, you swap to the guy's POV, and also like just this little poem. Okay, look, okay, I'm just gonna say it right out. I'm a Christian and I am very sensitive to the spirit, and this is really dangerous to read. And so in terms of like spiritual stuff, I think it's really dangerous to read. Not everyone's going to agree with that. That's totally okay. You don't have to agree with me. And if you're not a Christian and you're not spiritually minded, then, you know, you're not going to feel that way either. And that's totally okay. But for me, this book is a big no. There's no way. Like, I do read some books that go a little creepy, but only by Christian authors when I know that they're solid authors, like they're solid Christian authors. Otherwise, I don't trust Mary. I don't know her as an author, as a person. I don't know Mary, and I don't trust that she's not like, how am I supposed to know she's like she does voodoo or is a Satan worshipper? Like, how am I supposed to know that? I wouldn't know that, and they're not going to put that on her, like, blurb, and she's not going to share that with people more than likely. And I'm not saying she is, so don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Mary is definitely no, but I don't know what her walk is and her life is, and so for me to read something that has been written like this, unless I know, like, for example, my favorite author is Ted Dekker, and he can write some of the, like, he can really delve into little creepy bits and pieces. I've read some of his books and I was like, well, dang, that was a really creepy scene. But I know Ted Dekker's writing, and I've seen him in interviews, and I know a bit about him, and he's really theologically solid and sound, and I trust him. And so even though sometimes he can write a little creepy scene, or story is like really like edge of your seat, like intense as creepy, I trust him because I know that it's covered. So unfortunately, I don't know Mary from a bar of salt, and to be honest with you, the way that some of this is written, I don't think it's coming from a Christian POV, which means that for me it's a no and it's a pass. And I'm kind of sad because I was hoping there'd be no creepy in here and it would just be thievery. I would love to read something with just thievery, right? Like, I read recently Brandon Sanderson, the Mistborn book. I read the first one, and I knew like a little bit of what I was getting in for with those. With that, there was going to be magic and thievery, so I knew. This one didn't indicate any magic at all, and then all of a sudden I was thrown with like someone who's able to tell from touching bones who they were. No, babe. Long-winded way basically for me to say that unfortunately at chapter 3 I'm DNFing this one, and I'm really sad about that. I really am. I'm
really disappointed that I am not going to read this book. I mean, I suppose the argument is, why don't you just read it anyway? Well, because I don't want to put my mind and my spirit in danger of being like plagued with nightmares, or putting myself in a vulnerable position in terms of how my mind is processing things and how my heart is processing everything. And that is what these books can do for some people, and I am very sensitive to stuff like this, so I'm just not gonna do it. So I'm really sad. I'm so sad, but I just can't read this book, and I am gonna have to I'm just gonna have to donate it and move on. Well, that is the end of my video. I'm sorry that my end wrap up, I guess, is like in a weird vocal place. Having tonsillitis is not fun. I don't think I ever had like proper tonsillitis really much when I was a kid. It's not fun as an adult, and now that I've talked a whole bunch, my throat is even more sore than it was before. So I'm gonna really quickly wrap this up. Thanks for watching. I did enjoy some of those Booktube books. Some of them won, some of them didn't. But you know what? It was fun to go through them and see what other people were reading, and see if I was gonna like them. And you know, mixed bag, but win some, lose some. If you want to go see some of my other Booktube Made Me type videos, I have those posted up. I'm probably going to slow down with videos soon, like probably like nowish, because I've just started a new job which is taking up a lot of my time, so I'm slowing back down with videos. I was gearing up again, but it's going to come back down. Videos ebb and flow for me, but I will still keep reading. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the adventures.